Hi there, my name's Dean Martin. I'm a real estate agent here in Calgary, Alberta. And in this video, I'm going to be going over the Calgary house prices for November 2022. I'm going to be taking a look at all the stats up until November 1st, and we're going to take a look at what's driving the market in Calgary and how is that affecting the house prices. Of course, the interest rates have been going up in Canada, and in a lot of provinces and cities, it's really affecting the markets there differently. And so I'm going to be taking a look at what's happening in Calgary specifically. So if you're brand new to my channel and haven't subscribed yet, I invite you to subscribe and of course ring that bell. That way you get updated on my very next video. So without any further ado, let's get started right after this. Okay, so let's take a look at the monthly stats. This is October's numbers, so we're going to take a look at that in depth, and then this will help us look at which direction the market is actually going as we go into winter in Calgary. So overall sales, we had over 1,800 units sold. This is actually down 15% from last year. Now, last year was a record year or a record month. This entire year is actually going to be a record year if sales continue as they are. But again, so 1,857 sales for October is actually very good. New listings, that's actually down as well. So, which is again making the whole market here still very balanced. Our demand is still very, very high. We have so many people moving in from different cities across Canada. And just because our cost of living here is so much lower comparatively speaking, and that has a lot to do obviously with housing costs. So our overall residential price is kind of going sideways now, as you can see. Again, I'm going to go into more details with the different types of properties, but the average is up 9.6% year over year at 523,900. Our detached home prices are at 623,900, semi-detached 558,700, row housing, which is townhouses, 361,000, and apartments are up to 277,800. And as you can see, that our inventory is actually down. And so that's actually making it, our prices have not changed a whole lot compared to the pullback that we're seeing in a lot of the other cities in Canada. And as you can see, the months of supply is just about 2.1 months, and that's not as tight as it was earlier in the year, but the conditions remain tighter than historical levels. We're starting to see a divergent trend in the market with conditions continuing to favor the seller, especially in the low price ranges, and shifting to a more balanced condition in the upward price ranges. All right, so let's move on to the next slide. Okay, this is a snapshot to give you an idea of all the different zones in Calgary. This is the benchmark price for October. Up in the north, we're just shy of 500,000. Northwest Calgary, 551,500. West Calgary, 643,600. City Center at 570,700. South Calgary, 503,900. Southeast Calgary, 515,900. And east of Calgary, or east side of Calgary, 333,100. And northeast Calgary, 415,200. All right, so let's take a little closer look at each type of property. So we have detached, we have semi-detached, we have townhouses and apartments. So let's take a closer look at what's happening in those particular types. Okay, so let's take a look at the detached homes in Calgary. For the year 2022, we're just over 1,400 units sold. And again, this is on track to be another banner year. The number of listings slightly down, but still very, very strong comparatively other years. So as you can see here on the bottom left, this red trend line is the prices peaked around that $650,000 mark on average, and then just coming over 620, probably around that $630,000 mark. And so as long as we still maintain this low months of supply of inventory, I will expect this price range to stay fairly steady. As long as it's a supply and demand thing, as long as people continue to move to Calgary, which they are, mostly because of the cost of living is so much cheaper here and our economy is very, very strong. People are choosing Calgary instead of sticking around in Toronto or Vancouver, where it's almost impossible for most families to afford a home. So as long as this trend continues and people can work from home, people are now choosing Calgary as their first choice. All right, so now let's take a look at the semi-detached homes. Okay, so this is the semi-detached charts, and as you can see, again, we've had a banner year, and we're going to close on another banner year for 2022. Same thing as the listings are down slightly, but they're still very strong. The prices, again, peaked again around May and have come down. But again, it's very strong pricing comparatively to other cities where they've dropped a lot more. Again, we have very steady sales, and things are still selling at a reasonable amount of time. And as you can see, the months of inventory are slightly higher. They're a little over 2 months, but still very, very strong. All right, so let's take a look at row housing, and which is townhouses. All right, so this is our row housing and townhouses. So as you can see, this is a little different compared to the other types of properties. Our sales are up even higher in this type of property, and that has a lot to do with the cost of detached homes is quite a bit higher, so it's putting a lot of pressure on the lower cost row housing and townhouses, and so we're seeing a lot of activity, and a lot of people are choosing a townhouse over a detached just because the affordability rate is much higher. Again, we have strong amount of listings, again on the 10-year average. As you can see here too, the average price is actually very stable actually right now. And again, I expect this to maintain this and maybe even go up a little bit as we go into 2023. As long as people continue to move to Calgary and people don't want to leave here, I believe there's going to be a bit of a housing shortage here, so that will cause the prices probably to remain strong and maybe even go up even a little bit more. Okay, and again, the months of inventory again is around 2 months or even slightly lower. So I would expect prices to remain very strong for row housing and townhouses. All right, let's move on to the apartments. Okay, so here are our apartments charts. And as you can see, apartments, just like townhouses, have been increasing in number of sales. So there's a lot of activity, much more than Calgary's seen in a long time for the amount of apartments that are selling. Our inventory is up and sales are up. So you can sort of see, well, you can see this in the trend line as far as prices, and it's holding very strong. And right now it's just shy of 280,000. So again, we expect that the apartment sales to remain strong, and people are choosing that because most people would rather own rather than rent. So a lot of people will choose to start off with an apartment, get into the market, and then they can always upgrade after that when their family gets larger or when they can afford more. Okay, and again, months of supply is still very, very low. And I'd like to end with this chart, which shows the City of Calgary detached sales by price range. This gives you a good indication of where the majority of homes are selling in Calgary. And as you can see, 2021, the $400,000 to $500,000 range was the top winner here. And again, this year it's went up basically 100,000. So our number one price range is the 500 to 600,000. So, and again, then it kind of tapers off after that. So, again, if you're looking at, if you live in Toronto, for instance, the prices are like double this. In Vancouver, maybe even higher. So, if you're thinking of making a move to Calgary and want to know what you can afford, what kind of homes that we offer in these price ranges, feel free to give me a shout anytime. I'd love to hear from you. All my contact information is in the description below. If you even want to book a Zoom call or a call with me, my online calendar is in the description. Feel free to just reach out to me. I'd love to chat with you and explain the relocation process, that kind of thing. And I've helped many families move into Calgary, and I'd love to help you as well. So thanks for watching, and have a great day.